Hello Taurus, and welcome to your monthly reading. So this is for the month of July, and this is for Taurus rising or sun signs. So we are taking a look at the progression of the month. What theme is coming up as a big theme for you this month? Any kind of challenge that feels like it might be prominent, and any kind of, spiritual guidance, we could say, that is coming up for you, right? So I am keeping the astrology separate. If you didn't know, I've started doing astrological highlight videos, and I've been putting them out bi-weekly so far. However, I'm not sure if I'm going to keep with that format. I might just do smaller videos and just have the astrological highlights come out as the month progresses. So if you have a preference and you've been watching that and liking it, let me know. I'm actually feeling like this card is a part of it, and this card. All right. So, and I actually feel like I'm going to keep with this deck for taking a look at what kind of challenge is coming through and any kind of guidance to assist with that. All right. All right, Taurus, let's take a look at what we've got here going on. So as always, I appreciate any kind of feedback that you have. So definitely let me know if this ends up resonating with you down in the comments below. If you do get something from this video, please remember to like, subscribe if you haven't already, and to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of the videos that I'm putting out as I progress through the year. So let's get into your reading. So we're starting out with looking at what kind of theme is overall kind of coloring your month, and we have Libra that's showing up. Find that really interesting because I won't get into it here. Like I said, I'm keeping the astrology separate. However, because we have the lunar nodes moving, the North and South node will be moving, and guess what? They're moving into Libra and Aries. So I feel like for some of you, this is going to be an area that's on deck for a reason. Now, also, Libra is the other sign that is ruled by Venus, like you are. And so there is this kind of energy of, it says balance, but I feel like, yeah, harmony, balance, but balance and harmonious, like relationships in relating to people, not necessarily romantic, although it can be, but just in the relating to other people and having that feel harmonious and balanced and fair and just, right? And truthful, so, and knowing where to place your time, energy, and attention in ways that you value, that are really of value to you, right? And also some creativity. I feel like that comes into play with the Libra energy as well. So however you feel like that applies, I definitely see how that can apply to a few different areas of life. So whether that has to do with work or that has to do with relationships or in general or friendships, whatever it is, I would just take those themes and relate it back to that. I'm going to connect this back here. I mean, I think it's just, well, let's just point it out right now. So we have the Justice card and the Libra card showing up. I feel like that's a highlight. We're going to make our way around to that. So let's start with how your month is progressing. So we're looking at the beginning, middle, and end of the month, right? And we have the 10 of Cups, 6 of Swords, and Queen of Cups. So bookended with the Cups, definitely out of the Swords cards, I feel like this is one of a couple that feel like they have a lot of water energy in them. So just seeing like a lot of water coming into the experience. Definitely there's a in the feels kind of vibe here. And it's not necessarily bad. Like when we say in the feels, being in the feels can be really lovely and nice as well, right? So let's start out with one of the most lovely cards that's in the deck, which is the 10 of Cups, right? And so 10 of Cups, I feel like you're starting out this month and like right out the gate, there is this energy of either you're in this space or this is something you're really wanting to, like you're feeling like you would really like to have in your life. I'm sorry I'm getting distracted. My cat just found a bug. Please kill it. Okay, so sorry about that. In Arizona in the summer, gotta say, like sometimes you never know what's in here. Gotta make sure it's not a scorpion. So it wasn't. So 10 of Cups, right? This is like the ultimate feeling, like what we want to create for our life, like what we want for our life, right? And so when we have the 10 of Cups showing up, it's like this desire to create like the ultimate dream of like what we want for our life. Now, for some people, that's obviously it's going to look different. It doesn't have to look like this picture, but when the imagery for the the decks were created so long ago and how they developed, like this was the imagery, right? So it's like the, you know, having the partner and the kids and the piece of land and like, you know, kind of like the happily ever after card essentially. And so this is what we're looking at here is like the desire to the feeling, right? Remember, we're in the cups, right? So you're all in the feels about like wanting to really create this, you know, and perhaps you're actually wanting to do this because you're in a relationship and you're moving closer. Obviously, this is a collective reading. I always say this, but like, you know, if it resonates with you this month, if it hits, then awesome. If it doesn't, then it wasn't your message this month. And if this is your sun sign, go check out your rising and see if that one resonates more for you, right? So in looking at this, it's like either you're in this space where you're just kind of like, oh my God, I'm feeling like I'm arriving at this place and things are beautiful and I have this partner and like we're building a life together or whatever it is, something like that. Or like you're desiring to really have that, to create that, and you want to feel like you're in a balanced and harmonious connection with people, or that your life feels this way. It's interesting because during this month we've been in Venus retro or Venus shadow, but we're going to have it go retrograde this month. So I do feel like there is this possibility of this being like, I thought I was in the dream, or I've been in this kind of relationship, and like maybe for some of you it may not necessarily be the case. Now, I'm not going to say that's for everyone. I don't want to freak anyone out, but it's like, you know, I feel like to cover all of the bases when I'm doing a collective reading, I got to say the hits that I'm getting, because for some of you that's going to land, and for others you're going to be like, no, it's the other thing that she said, right? So I just like to lay out the options for what I'm seeing here. Six of Swords is this kind of like moving on to, I don't want to say greener pastures, but moving forward in your life, moving to that next land, that next adventure, traversing some emotional waters, and maybe you're feeling quite pensive along the way. Oftentimes with the Six of Swords, it can feel like we're growing and moving forward in our life, but are the people that we care about going to be able to keep up with us, like our best friends or a lover or our family or whoever, right? Like, are they going to be able to take the journey with us? And sometimes the answer for that is no. Sometimes it's not time for them to move on forward, or that's just not where they are in their life. And there's a level of maybe some grieving or accepting of that. And often people feel like, well, I don't want to leave people behind. But as I always say with this card, it's not about leaving people behind. It's about allowing them to be where they are. You know, they might have a growth spurt at some point and move in that direction. And maybe it's not even about growth. Maybe you guys are like, the adventures you want to go on are in two different directions. But this is about a reminder to feel those feelings, deal with those, like those, confront those, or deal with those feelings that are confronting, and continue to move forward. Like, do not stop your progress and your growth and shrink your life or stay behind because you're afraid that people won't be able to meet you on the other side, right? So you want to be able to do that. And also, like, for those of you who are in the middle of like creating this and you're just like, oh no, things are great, things are harmonious, things are feeling really awesome, that's fantastic. Then build together, like keep growing together then, if that's the case, if you're in a relationship, right? But the idea is to keep moving and to not stagnate, right? Then we come into the end of the month and we have the Queen of Cups. And, you know, one of the things that I love about the Queen of Cups is like, she's definitely like the self-care queen. She's also very nourishing and nurturing and empathic. So being empathetic of others in your life, you know, let's say that you are moving forward with certain things in your life, you know, this could also be, I mean, like there's just so many, without doing a one-to-one reading, there's just so many possibilities. But let's say one of the examples here is that you happen to be in a relationship with somebody and you guys are progressing forward together as a couple. And maybe some people are not on board with that, and that's okay and that's fine, but you're continuing to go forward. Having empathy for the people who are not able to understand or necessarily be there doesn't mean that you have to, you know, succumb to like what they want, but it's more about just like being able to be empathetic with yourself and with those around you, to have these harmonious and balanced relationships and connections with other people, with the, like, and again, this could have to do with your, sorry, my cat is like wreaking havoc right now. This could be with your community, with your friendships, with, again, like with family members, but just like as you go about building your life and moving forward and growing, and again, doesn't have to be a relationship, but as you're doing that, make sure that you're being empathetic. You know, you don't have to change your course, but you can just be understanding of like where people are at and just allow yourself to understand that, but still put your self-care on the top of the list. I'm not talking about being selfish. I'm talking about making sure that you are taking care of and nourishing and nurturing your internal world, your emotional world, I would say even I would go as far as to put in here your body, because I sometimes feel like, you know, water and relating water to the moon and just how the moon represents our body. And so like, I feel like this goes beyond just emotional nurturing, but also physically nurturing ourselves, right? So these are the themes that are on deck as you're progressing through the month. And I feel like it's building a story here. I think that for some of you, this is going to make sense at various, like as you come back to this, like I definitely recommend checking it out now and then going, you know, coming back around mid-month or coming back at the end of the month and just being like, oh yeah, I can see the progression now. I see how it's unfolding, right? So I think for some of you, it'll make sense at that point. For some of you, it probably makes sense right now. Now, to get some of that, like, to deal with some of like what the challenges are that are coming up, or like one of the challenges that's going to feel prominent is we have the Hermit card that shows up, right? And I think that there's a resistance to wanting to go inward and to take the time to do this, because it's in the challenge position. You know, this is a really solitary card. It's a card that is going inward to ask yourself like the big picture questions, like, you know, is what I wanted before for my life, whether that's career or friendships or relationship or the life that I'm building, is what I wanted before still what I want now? Am I still resonant with that? You know, again, like I said, I'm not going to go into the astrology a bunch here, but I'm just going to say like we are going to have the Venus going retrograde, and you know that like we've been in the shadow, so you've probably already been seeing like the themes that are coming up with that. But if this has to do with relationships, then yeah, this is a place where you would be questioning these kinds of questions and might feel resistant to doing that, because there might be a concern of like, oh no, if I do that, then maybe that means I'll find something that I don't want to find, and that means we have to break up, right? So I just want to encourage you to like ask yourself those questions, because regardless, those feelings are there. It's good to be clear and to understand. And if there are things that come up, well then that's what conversation and communication is for, right? Is to like have those discussions that are necessary to have, so that like maybe it doesn't necessarily mean breakup season for you, right? So now if this doesn't have to do with relationship at all, and it just like this has to do more with like just building this life that you want to build for yourself, it's important that you know that every once in a while we need to check in with ourselves and go, okay, what feels like it's still resonant with me? What do I actually want? Is it still the same things that I wanted? Am I still going in a direction that feels like the kind of life that I want to build, the kind of people I want to spend time with, the kind of conversations I want to be having, the kind of adventures that I do or don't want to be having in my life? You know, like maybe there are certain things that you were totally on board with that you're just like, yeah, I'm not so interested in that anymore. Now I'm like really passionate about this other thing, right? And it's important to acknowledge it. Even if you're just like, oh, I already know that though, it's important to sit down and just kind of like acknowledge it, understand it, like see it clearly. It helps us to be in alignment to make our decisions about yes, no, when it comes to what we do or who we spend our time with much more easily, or the kinds of conversations that need to be had. So I'm just seeing that there's like some resistance to that in this space during this month. And maybe feeling like I don't want to seclude myself, or I don't want to be alone. It's not like you're going into an actual hermit phase and like going into a cave and staying away from people. But I think that this is really just about carving out some of that time. And you might feel like your life is too busy, or like that you don't want to do that. But I would really encourage you to do it. I feel like you're going to get some kind of information that's going to feel really important for you here. And I say that also because I'm seeing the Justice card showing up here as well, you know, and the Justice card showing up being about, I mean, yes, about balance, yes, about what is fair. And I think you're going to get some of the answers that you need by actually going inward and asking yourself these kinds of questions, by having the resolve to continue to grow forward, to continue to take care of yourself in these different kinds of ways, to create the kind of life that you're feeling into in the beginning of this month, right? Remember, it's like building towards something that you want, actually. But also the Justice card is about not just fairness and balance, but it's also about staying true to ourselves. You know, that's one of the things that I really love about the Justice card whenever I see it, is I'm just like, oh yeah, this is about staying true to yourself. And how can you stay true to yourself if you don't have that clarity? You gotta be really honest with yourself about what you're growing towards, what feels right and in alignment for you. And then you're able to hold that space. And from there, when you're clear like this, when you're clear and grounded and holding space for like what it is that you really know to be true for yourself now, right? Because like that can change, but like what is so for you now, you can have conversations with the people around you in a way that is working towards something that is more balanced, more harmonious, fair. And yeah, maybe sometimes out of that, you come to a conclusion that like there's a parting of ways, and sometimes it's not about a parting of ways. Sometimes you guys go on the boat together, right? So it's not really about, like living in the fear of like what might happen to the people around you and how they might respond to that, but more so about being true to yourself. So I hope that this makes sense. It definitely feels like it's got this very watery tone to it, despite, it's like watery, kind of creation type vibes that I'm feeling in here. So I hope that this makes sense. I hope that you got some value from it. If you did, please remember to give the video a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any of the videos that I'm putting out on the horizon. I am doing the astrology videos in probably a different format. I'm not really sure whether I'm going to do bi-weekly astrology highlights, or if I'm going to do shorter, like 5-minute-ish videos as the month progresses, and just to have a bunch of different little ones. But if I have what I have, it'll be up on the first with these videos. So I'll have that up on the screen, or depending on how I'm structuring that, I might put up just like the last bi-weekly reading that I did, which takes us into the first few days of July. So I hope this is helpful. Thank you for your time. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.